Welcome back, folks. Please stand by. I know, we're going to have to revisit something we haven't talked about in about 1 to 2 years. As I approach you from the basement. Now that we had to bring out one of the 25 God books, and we had to talk, now that Antiquities is becoming a big thing again, with the reserve list boom of 2020, we're going to have to revisit some of these things. A hot topic is coming up again regarding Rudy. I got some Antiquity cards, and they're flipping glossy and waxy feeling. They're getting big, man. The counterfeit revolution of the DeLoreans, they have figured out how to flux without the capacitor. And I said, bro, dude, do you want me to hit you with dude darts? Dude, listen. Calm down. Calm your shenanigans. Put your taco back in the package. Let's have a talk. So we're gonna have a little discussion on that whole thing, and we're gonna kind of go into the whole. Let me flop over to the right department here. We're gonna go into. I would say, let's talk about let's go to factories. So on these particular things, I want the conversation and the concept of understand everybody. There is a small batch of Antiquity cards that are very waxy. Okay, that is a fact that you need to understand. Is this one? That one looked like the light hit it. Is this one waxy? The light looked like it hit it. It is, okay. I was like, the light looked like I saw, okay. So, I don't know the percentage. Some people told me it's like 5%. Some people told me it's 10%. Some people told me it's 1%. Some people told me it's 69%. But she was a shady young lady in the middle of the night. I don't know. You have to understand that. There are some Antiquity cards. When you look at it as a whole, guess what? Everything looks fine. But when you pick one up and you look closely, you're going to notice it has a shinier, waxier, similar, here it comes, to the Hopes and Dreams box. Now, the Hopes and Dreams box are very shiny, waxy. So if we take, what's a good example here? Let's take this Nether Void. So when you go to the Hopes and Dreams box, you're going to see similar things. But, oh my God, maybe not. That's still really, like even the waxy backs of 93, 94, boy, that's still a very distinctive difference. This one you can still see natural, actual cardstock. It looks authentic. This just looks really shiny. Holy smokes, look at that. Where even if you look at the real one, it doesn't have that kind of... It's shinier, but it's not extreme. So, and the texture feels off. This scares a lot of people. It used to scare me before I actually learned about it. It scared the crap out of me compared to things like this. Now, this is what I used to rollerblade on when I was in high school. So, when you look at the Hopes and Dreams box over here, all the cards tend to be extreme. Why is that even in a case? So, this one's a little bit different. See, that texture looks similar to a waxy Antiquities card. Look at that. That's pretty close. Not going to lie to you guys. Look at that. I don't think a normal Timmy who's trying to enter the industry is really going to be able to tell. I mean, well, I know a lot of you are saying, Rudy, I can tell immediately, but I get that. But we're not talking about people like you guys and me who sniff cardboard for a living 24/7. People new to the hobby are not going to know this. This is still waxier and super glossy and shiny, but someone new they're going to get hammered. And remember, they usually try to hose people from backpack dealers or cash deals or Craigslist or OfferUp or Backpage or Silk Roads, and you know that's what they go for. They're not going to contact people like me and send me their collections or go to any of the channel Snowballs, Kingdoms, Castles of actually the channels that fire their snow. It just doesn't happen that way. So when you compare it to even a regular, where's like a played one? There you go. Where's a really played one? So if you take, oh my God, there's a signature there. Sorry, I was practicing my fake signatures. I didn't mean for you. Hold on a second. I don't really want you guys to see that. Let me put that like that. There you go. Don't look at that. So when you really compare it, like when you put them side by side, look at this guy. I mean, you even got love juices from Rudy's 11th grade right there. So when you look at it, look at this. There's not a dramatic difference on camera, but in real life, they feel completely different. And a lot of people also confuse heavy played cards. They tend to get more oils from players' hands over the years. So the surface will be more oily. It'll have a different texture. But all of these things will still pass a similar light test. So let me show you guys something. Let me show you. So again, when you look at a regular light, let me make it real dark. Hang on. Bring down the light. Lights down. So when you bring down the light and you look at it, you still have a very crispy clear. Very nice, clean, no rebacking, no tampering, looks very nice. Now when we go back, to the Hopes and Dreams box. When you look at the Hopes and Dreams box and you put it through, I mean, there's literally no light. It's just Hopes and Dreams only. So when we go to the waxy card, the waxy card still has a very similar light registration. It looks very, very similar. A little bit different. The texture and the glue in between the core blue core paper actually has a little bit of a different variance, but overall, it's very easy to tell that it's still an authentic card. When you compare it to, of course, let's get another Hopes and Dreams. Let's get our Nether Void, and when you get the Nether Void out and you put the Nether Void through it, look at that. It's like a reddish pink because it doesn't have blue core paper. It has different glue material between it. It's thicker. The light just doesn't look like crap. And then again, when you go back to putting the real thing, it's very distinctive. So, all right, so let's do that. Hold on. All right, and we're back. Hopes and Dreams. So, Hopes and Dreams. So that was the biggest part of this video, as I wanted to just everybody to understand. When you look at these cards, this waxy, I just want to make sure I grab the waxy one. Even see, I have to kind of double check for a second. There's normal, there's waxy. So this reminds me of the video we did just the other day regarding the actual, someone thought these alpha basic lands were fake and they were making fake lands. I don't believe that to be the case. So for the rest of this video now, I'm just going to do some yip yapping, and I want to talk to you guys just kind of about what's going on with this stuff, because I think it's kind of a good time. So obviously, everybody knows here, we're going to kind of have a good conversation for the next couple minutes. We'll go past 10 minutes. It's okay. Obviously, the reserve list buyout thing continues to be a really big thing. The prices continue to inflate. And again, as we all know, when prices are declining for the last 12 to 18 months and there's no money to be made, obviously the roaring nature of reserve list and investors and evil and ruining the game gets very, very quiet. Then suddenly, of course, when the market starts to change again, and everything starts to reinflate, obviously everybody comes out of the little woodwork, the little caves, and gets their pitchforks ready, and all of a sudden it's evil and investors are ruining the game. This has happened, you know, it's very cyclical. This is probably about the 5th or 6th major wave of attempt of the same thing I've seen probably in all my years. And this will stay this way for a couple months, then eventually the market's going to level out, and a bunch of more new flashy things will go on, and Timmy's will put a new hat on, they'll run off to the corner, and they'll all have fun, they'll forget about it, because then the prices are going to level out. Or if the prices go down or stop swinging, people stop caring. So, right now, if you do not have old Magic cards, even though if you've watched this channel for a long time, I've been recommending throughout the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, as the prices stayed flat to negative, you should be slowly building positions for long term. If a $100 card goes to 80, buy one card. If it goes to 70, buy one more. If it goes to 60, buy one more. If it goes to 50, 40, buy two more. But eventually, it levels out at 40, 50, 60, and it starts trending sideways into a consolidation period. During that consolidation period, all of a sudden, everybody gets real quiet and says, well, you know, I don't know. I think it's going to drop more. I'm going to wait for a better price. And eventually, as we all learned, there's eventually a point where the market just doesn't go down anymore. And we experienced this a couple months ago. I would say the scariest and worst part was earlier this year, when I was the one that just said stay the course and keep buying on the way down. And yes, as you buy, it's going to drop more and you're going to have losses on paper, and you keep buying. You dollar cost average all the way down. And I know it's nauseating. You feel like crap when you buy a $100 card and it goes to 80. I hear you. It's fine. That's part of being an investor. You need to be able to understand and stomach those kind of things. That's part of life. That's part of doing this stuff. Very few people did it, but all of a sudden the market turned with a vengeance. Whether you want to blame it on inflation, money printing, crypto reinflation, stock market reinflation, economy, politics, I don't care. The point is the vintage Magic world leveled out and has roared back, and it's very nasty, it's very aggressive, and it's very quick. So now again, we created this new wave of reserve list anger. I expect this to kind of stay this way for more reserve list anger and all this stuff, which is funny because I'm showing cards that aren't even reserve lists. Let's go here. Let's go way back. You know, I mean, but it's really more about the long term. Like I told you guys over and over, a lot of this stuff is really about, a lot of this stuff is really about staying the course and playing the long game. And that's really the difference between people who try to make some money or quote unquote get rich quick or try to have some system. And I've repeated myself a million times. There's nothing I can do to tell anybody of how to get rich or be successful. It's a state of mind, and it takes a long period of time, and it takes a lot of patience and a crappy ton of work. And it sucks many times. But because it sucks many times, and that's part of life, that is what makes the reward very self-fulfilling. In Magic, long-term, we'll continue to do the same thing. Pokemon, vintage Pokemon, sealed Pokemon, old products, same thing. Many other hobbies out there, the comic books, I think the video game world, all these things are going to continue to push forward. It's going to be bumpy. There'll be sell-offs. There'll be bear markets, just like equities and just like the debt markets, just like real estate. But when you zoom out, the trend line will continue upwards. Now, whether that's true growth or inflation, you guys can argue amongst yourselves. But again, when dealing with all of these old cards, it's very important to block out the market noise. A lot of people, they fell hard for this. A lot of people, I mean, look, I bought a lot of people's collections in the beginning parts of 2020 through March, April, May, June, when things were just really bad. I mean, the market was tanking, everything was tanking. If you had the tether balls to buy into the equity markets, the debt markets, corporate bonds, you bought real estate, bought Magic cards, anything you would have bought, you would have made money. It didn't even have to be old Magic cards, everybody. You didn't even have to buy this stuff. You could have literally bought just about anything. You could have bought, I mean, no joke, everybody. You could have literally just gone to the stock market and bought almost any sector. You could have bought any real estate piece of property or a rental property or anything. Or you could have bought corporate debt and almost anything that was distressed. And you would have made a solid, but probably between 10% to only 200%, depending on what you bought and your risk tolerance. But that's where it's at. And obviously, now that we know how 2020 is approaching the end as we go to the fourth quarter here, you know, we know now, of course, knowing makes everything easy because, you know, we have hindsight. We can look back and we could say, okay, well, gee, obviously buying reserve lists or buying stocks or equities or bonds would have been smart. But most people didn't do it. And that's the difference. And that's the problem. Most people were very negative. They were very pessimistic, which they had right to be. The news cycle and the media and the headlines were very scary. They were very bearish. They were very poor. They were very bad looking. And for many people around the country, they still are. Things haven't recovered for many people. Some sectors have, some sectors haven't, creating a very large, even bigger divide between the wealth inequality and the reinflation of assets and wealth and people who are just getting left in the dust. And, you know, it gets very complicated, but when you look at the reserve list as a whole, you know, if you had just done a little bit, and again, you don't have to go all in. Don't be a hero. Remember, heroes and the really hot chicks are the first ones to get nuked in horror movies. Don't be the hero. You don't have to do that. Just dabble a little bit. Buy a little bit at a time. Take the long journey. Even now, buy one card a week, one card a month, and just do it for 12 months, 60 months, 600 months. You see my point? Do it for 1 month, 1 year, 10 years, and keep going. And eventually, you know, you're going to be very amazed at what you can accomplish. So that's what I've done. Everything you see in these videos and everything, that's what I've done. That's how I handled it. That's how I thought the best course of action would be to continue to do that kind of approach and keep slowly building over a 10, 20-year period. So now when you guys see these channel and we compare things, we go over variations of waxiness, card stock. You see cards that look like they went through the laundry machine, all the way to cards like they've never been touched out of a pack. You know, and when we do this kind of stuff, this is the results of long-term discipline. And trust me, there's many times, even I question myself, and it's tough. It's mentally challenging. And you have to be able to keep a straight, level head, especially when everyone thinks you're wrong and everyone thinks you're a moron. And that is the difference, and those are the moments when the true colors of investors and collectors, do they hold their ground, or do they listen to the market noise that leads to failure long term? So I hope you guys learned something today. Thanks for listening. Again, recap, waxy cards do not mean fake cards and antiquities. There's a small batch that do feel a little bit different, and they are not counterfeits, so just be aware of that. And just make sure, like I said, make sure you think for yourself, make your own opinions up, and there's a lot of things out there in life that we don't know the answers to. You know, I mean, you know, when are the aliens going to show up? When's the flat earth going to turn into a trapezoid? When's the reptilian Rudy going to reveal himself? You know, we don't know. You know, there's no way to know specifically what's really out there in the universe with rules, culture, the future of our country, the world. We don't know. And you shouldn't focus on that because those are variables you cannot control. Therefore, why are you getting yourself focused in a direction on things you can't control? Have a great day. Be safe out there. A lot of beauty in the world. But remember, negativity spreads very quick. Positivity and really cool things, good advice, isn't very popular in 2020.